This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
You know what? I'm actually glad I came back down here to Birmingham, man, because I got a chance to get a little more insight on what was going on down here in Alabama. Also, I got a chance to get a lot more photos and videos and stuff, right? Basically showing these Native Americans, the ones that try to say we're still in their culture, right? The ones that try to say the Indian civil rights was about them. I got a chance to come down here to where it was going down at and see and get pictures and videos and show you that you guys were nowhere in this fight. Y'all were nowhere in this civil rights fight. Here's the thing, don't get it twisted. True enough, the fight that we fought, it benefited you Native Americans. Human rights, of course. We were fighting for human rights. We were fighting for civil rights. So it benefited everybody else. Let's not get that twisted of it being your fight. We were fighting for your Indian rights. No, we were fighting for ours. These Indians were fighting for their civil rights. It just so happens to benefit you Native Americans. So let's not get that twisted, because as I walk through that museum and as I'm down here where the 16th Street, the civil rights, where all of this stuff went down at, I'm right here on the grounds. You were nowhere in this picture. Nowhere. So you have to ask yourself, who was they fighting for when they said Indian civil rights? And y'all were nowhere to be found. And when we talk about colored people, I don't care what y'all try to say. I don't care how y'all try to make it sound. Oh yeah, Walter Plecker reclassified us from white to colored, and anybody that wasn't white was colored. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I walked through a museum that basically showed who the colored people were. I don't care what y'all try to say they classified y'all as. We know when we say colored people, we know who they talking about. We know who they're talking about when they say colored people. Let's stop the game. How you doing, brother? Listen, we're filming a docuseries called Our Story, 1968, which deals with the Civil Rights Act of 1968. And I wanted to stop and ask you, we're right here in Birmingham, Alabama at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. And I just wanted to ask you a question. In 1968, we know it was called the Civil Rights Act of 1968. Do you know what the nickname for the 1968 Civil Rights Act was?
Nickname? No, I don't know the nickname.
So the nickname for the Civil Rights Act for 1968 was called the Indian Civil Rights Act.
Okay, I've heard that. I didn't know that was considered a nickname.
Yeah, it was considered a nickname.
I've heard that
so when you look it up, it'll say the Indian Civil Rights Act. It'll say the Indian Bill of Rights Act. They were fighting for public Indian housing, which it will say Fair Housing Act. Okay, so thank you for your time. I just wanted to ask that simple question. I just want to talk to our people about that. Right there across the street is the Birmingham, 16th Street Birmingham Church. And right here in this intersection is where a lot of the protesting went down, a lot of that fighting went down. I told you, we're gonna tell this story. And we gotta figure out what was going on down here in Memphis, Tennessee at the Lorraine Hotel, right? Because what I'm starting to think is it was some Indians making some noise. I'm starting to think it was some Indians making some noise in the civil rights movement. And they said they was coming to get a check.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
They woke up and realized this was their land, and I think some Indians got to making some noise somewhere and started fighting for the Indian Civil Rights Act. Yeah. So King wanted to talk to the people here in Memphis, and it was right here. It was right here, the Lorraine Hotel. That I think they felt the Indians was making a little too much noise about this being their land, them being in exile in their own land, them Negroes, them niggers, them American Indians were making too much noise. Somebody had to quiet those Indians down. All right, so check this out, y'all. I want to try to show y'all this, right? So right here, this is where King was at, right? This is where they was at, where the reef is at, right? So y'all remember, they got out the cars, right? They got out the cars, they went up the stairs, right? And they went to the room right there, right? Well, if we turn around, they say that's where the shot came from, right over my head. They say that's where the shot was fired from, over here to this room to kill Dr. King. Just wanted to show y'all that right quick. Halito Tribe, I'm your host, Chief Cali, checking in for another episode of Our Story 1968, Indian Civil Rights. Now here we are, we're coming down to the last stretch of this docuseries. We're coming down to the end, family, of season 1. Now, remember when I told you when I started this series that this series wasn't so much about the civil rights era, but what it is, it was more about the people of the civil rights era. Those people who were fighting for Indian civil rights in 1968. Those Indians. Who were those Indians? If we're all Africans, who were those Indians that we Africans were fighting for in 1968? If we're all African. Or are we all African? So in this episode, I really don't even want to talk too much through this episode. In this episode, I want to sit back and I want to run some information past you. Information past you that should make you, by the end of this episode, even by the end of this series, start scratching your head and say, whoa, Cali, this is making too much sense. You're making this make too much sense. Even as basic as the information is. Sometimes that's all we have to do is start basic. We can't go over people's heads too high. Let's stay basic. Let's connect basic dots, okay? So with that being said, let's jump into this episode of Our Story. I am American, not African American. I'm American. Let's go.
They don't know our story. They don't know what we've been through, baby. and explaining. But we live and we learn. Hey, I bet they ain't think that we would make it, but we overcame it. This shit ain't nothing to play with. Family over everything is still the same shit, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing. Nah, we've been through hell and back, but we're still standing, standing on all 10. Hey, you know how we do it, we go all in. Yeah, it's us over everybody. Spot when it's trouble in paradise. Those and motherfuckers wanna hear about it. Let's be clear about it. We don't make decisions based on their opinions. We can't expect, nor can we make them see the vision, as long as we know the business. Cause they don't know our story. Yeah. They don't know what we've been through, baby. They're all on the outside looking in. But we still gon' do what we want to. Never said it would be easy, but when you commit to shit, you gotta keep on fighting for who and what you believe in. Believe me, cause I ain't going nowhere, baby. I'll be here till the end of time. Take no chances, I won't jeopardize. You know I won't, cause true love only happens once. I know my past ain't pretty, yeah, but she still ride with me, yeah. You see, this ain't for everybody. I went to trouble in paradise. Those and motherfuckers wanna hear about it. Let's be clear about it. We don't make decisions based on their opinions. We can't expect, nor can we make them see the vision, as long as we know the business. Cause they don't know our story. Yeah. They don't know what we've been through, baby. They're all on the outside looking in. But we still gon' do what we want to.
This is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
So Americans, remember I told you there were a group of people called Indians reclassified on this land of North America. And they were reclassified to colored, Negro, black, on down the line. In a previous episode, I told you about a guy named Walter Plecker who had a big hand in reclassifying the American Indian Negro to who you are today, African Americans. He had a big hand in that. And you'll have the Native Americans try to make it seem like it was them that were reclassified. But here's the thing. Plecker was dealing with the Indians of Virginia. You know, remember Chris Brown said he was from the Pamunkey tribe? Well, the Pamunkey tribe is from Virginia.
Tribal tattoo, I'm from, the Pamunkey tribe.
I kind of figured that.
Yeah, he's
right.
You from the monkey tribe?
Am I from the Pamunkeys too?
No.
Okay, just checking.
It's native. It's a Native American tribe, but
really though. Now, how long did you know that?
For about maybe 4 years.
Okay, cool in the game.
So yeah.
So you didn't go in and some white dude say, "Hey, you from the Pamunkey tribe"? Let me get that on.
No, my family did all that.
Okay, they did the research.
Yeah. These are the people that were being reclassified back then. Let's start putting these dots together. He was talking about Negroes and feathers. Those Indians. That's who this docuseries is about. Those people of the Civil Rights Movement. Those Negroes in feathers. Walter Plecker, Virginia's Vital Statistic Registrar, declared war on the Virginia Indian community. Plecker, who called Indians Negroes in feathers, sought to obliterate the Virginia Indians using what many have called pencil genocide, disallowing the use of the term Indian as a racial designation on government documents. His efforts led to the Virginia legislature to pass the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, a law that criminalized interracial marriages and also required that every birth in the state be recorded by race, with only options being white and colored. He referred to Indians as Negroes in feathers. Let that sink in for a second. So Americans, are we still connecting dots here? Or are we still playing the African game? All right, cool. Well, let's keep going. I just want to show y'all some things, okay? I just want to show y'all some things from the previous episodes that should have you connecting dots by now, okay? Remember, in a previous episode, I showed you about the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians having their sports teams and logos protested by the Native American Indians. Well, check this out. The Washington Redskins are now looking to have that overturned, because now even the Native Americans are coming out in support of the real Indians of the land, saying bring back the Washington Redskins team name and logo. Didn't I show you guys why this would be?
The Washington Commanders, previously known as the Washington football team, and of course since their inception known as the Washington Redskins, until some woke freaks got so offended they pressured Dan Snyder into changing it. Well, one thing I'm sure some people didn't expect was for that name change to potentially go back to the original. And over the last few weeks, we have seen a rise in the number of people that are calling and demanding that the Washington Commanders finally erase the mistake they made a few years ago and go back to their roots, return to the Washington Redskins name, including Native American groups. Native American groups threatens boycott if Washington Commanders don't change name back to Redskins. And of course, throughout this entire saga, that has been such a big misconception that, oh, the Native Americans are so upset, they're so offended by this, when in reality, if you look at study after study, poll after poll, it showed that actually the vast majority of Native Americans, somewhere between 85 and 90%, completely were in support of the name. They loved that this team had a history and that they partnered with Native American groups and tribes to get them out there to celebrate them. It was something that they were rooting for and they enjoyed. Yet a bunch of white liberals got offended by the name and essentially forced Dan Snyder to change it. But now you have groups that are saying, we are going to boycott this team if you don't change it back to the original. The Native American Guardians Association posted a meme to its X account with the message to educate, not eradicate, and wants the team to go back to its original name. The group, led by founder Eunice Davidson, sent a letter to the owners and execs of the Washington Commanders, formally requesting the team revitalize its relationship with the American Indian community and rightfully change their name back to the Redskins. The letter blasted the team for engaging in cancel culture by dumping its more than 90-year-old name, and said by getting rid of the name, they're eradicating Native American culture. And when you look across the landscape as well, you can see that there's been a petition that's been gaining steam lately. And as we speak, it has nearly 100,000 signatures. It's sitting there at 91,000 people, almost 92,000, have signed this petition, changed the Washington Commanders' name back to the Washington Redskins. I would assume, because you're getting a couple more headlines, this is going to start ballooning up. There is a lot of people out there, like we said, including the group that's supposed to be offended by all of this, who wants the name back as the Redskins. Now, with the new ownership group, could there potentially be that movement, that push to do it? There could be.
Let me ask you about two controversial items. After years of protests, the team finally changes its name. They become the Washington Commanders almost immediately. A lot of folks express their displeasure with the name choice, shall we say. Is that something that might be reviewed by the new ownership, changing the name from the Commanders to something else?
I think, Craig, everything's on the table.
Right.
There's a great opportunity. And I don't know why God blessed me with these opportunities. But I want to excel not only for myself and my family, but for all African Americans, making sure we can see ourselves in these seats. And I want people to know that we can do the job. And even sitting here with you now is a blessing.
Why this would be? Because that logo looks like the people of the land and not the Native Americans. That team name is not offensive to the Black Indians, but it's very offensive to the Native Americans. Why? Because it doesn't fit their description, and it doesn't fit who they are on the land. It doesn't even fit the geographical location of where their presence is on the land. So, with that being said, the truth is coming down the line. Covers are being pulled back on the lies. So now we're looking at the truth. Let's take a look at why the Native Americans are now joining in with the Black American Indians on getting the name back of the Washington Redskins. It's because of things like this. Now, parents, I'll say, with this clip right here, I did not edit it. I want it to come out as is. And I will tell you this, if you have young children in the room who you don't want to hear this language, there is profanity in this clip right here. So please be aware of that. Parental discretion is advised for this clip here.
Because now we want to ask ourselves, why don't black people think that they were the Indians? Why do niggas only think that they was fucking African? Okay? I'll tell you why. For one, the word semantics got you fucked up. For two, okay, the Dawes Commission. As you can see, this is from the U.S. Department of the Interior. Okay? When you go to the U.S. Department of the Interior, you go to tribes and you research information on Dawes scrolls. I did this myself. I screenshotted this shit myself. I went there myself. And so that being said, it says what? Information on the Dawes rolls. The Dawes Commission was organized in 1893 to accept applications for tribal enrollment between 1899 and 1907 from the American Indians of the 5 civilized tribes who resided in the Indian Territory, which later became the eastern portion of Oklahoma. The 5 civilized tribes consist of the Cherokee, Choctaw, Creek, Seminole Indians, and Chickasaw Indians. Okay? Now, with that being said, here's a paper on the Dawes roll. Now, these say identify Mississippi Choctaws. So what happened was, a part of one of the treaties in the Dawes Commission was to give land back to the Indians that was wrongfully taken. Okay? And so, as you can see, this shit say Williamson Mill. Most of these motherfuckers is white. Age 30, male, full-blooded Indian. Name of father. And so what happens was with the Dawes rolls is the government allow other white people to pay $5 to get listed down as if they were an Aboriginal Indian, so that way they can receive the benefits of the land that the government was supposed to give back to the blacks. So when you look at motherfuckers on the Indian reservations today, and they getting $20,000 to $100,000 checks a month from the government can't come on the reservation, they got all them casinos, that's actually our shit. But the reason we don't claim it is because we don't think that we the motherfuckers that was over here too. And so this is where you get the term $5 Indian from, because white people allowed themselves to claim themselves as the Indians for $5 in order to receive the benefits from themselves that they were supposed to give to us. Okay? Now here's another joint right here. Another poster. All right? What year is this from? Let me find the date on it. 1902, July 1st. It says, the Commission of the 5 Civilized Tribes will continue in session. Okay? Notice given to all hereby free men listed as doubtful claimants that after May 31st, their cases will be considered and completed. Okay? Now this goes to, now you have to ask yourself, who the fuck is this nigga? Because this not a real Indian. Okay? So who is him? I'm finna show you. Okay? This is a $5 Indian. This is a Mexican. Okay? Don't worry, I got you. White people and Mexicans are the motherfuckers that's claiming today to be the Indians. Okay? Now let me show you how. If you go to an Indian reservation today, these are the 2 motherfuckers you gonna see. Okay? But these ain't the Negroes that the generals and the colonels was speaking about. These ain't the Seminoles and the Gullah warriors that they was worried about. So who the fuck are these people? If history already confirms that they call Indians blue-black via the word indigo, these motherfuckers ain't blue-black. If everybody, including the presidents of the United States of America, confirm that the Indians were black and they were fighting back, who the fuck is these people? See, I got to show you how they got there. So we're going to do imposter versus original part 1. This is imposter. Now, these are original black Indians. This is a Crow tribesman. This picture was taken in 1873. As you can clearly fucking see, there's a huge difference. A huge difference. So we have to ask ourselves, how did our ancestors become these motherfuckers? Okay? I'm gonna give you the answer now. See? All non-Africans are Neanderthal. See? Now, this is an African woman from Africa. These are the Adamant Island black people by China. This is a queen from Jamaica. This is a light-skinned Khoisan or San people from Africa. And this is a black Aboriginal Indian woman from America. And the point I'm trying to make is all black people stem from that mitochondrial Eve gene. This is why no matter what shade we are, we got them same distinct features. You're going to see that nose, you're going to see them lips, and you're going to see that body type. Okay? Now, if you're not of human descent, you're a Neanderthal. Okay? If you're not of the descent of the black woman, you're a Neanderthal. Now, why is this important? As you can see, this albino African right here still look like an African. But this Dravidian man, aka the motherfuckers that's in India, when they're albino, they look like him. Now, this dude right here at the top right with these freckles is not a white man. This is an albino Dravidian. The dude at the bottom is a white man. White people are genetically engineered Dravidians, and they're genetically dead Asians. This is why they call Caucasians. So what happens is when you take a white person and you mix them with a Chinese person and you mix them with a mulatto black person, you get a Mexican. So this is why racist white people call Mexicans spics, because a spick is like the equivalent to calling somebody a mutt. We know a dog mutt is mixed with a lot of races. This is why you see right here, this Mexican look just like this Chinese man. This Chinese man right here look like Genghis Khan, and he looked just like this Mexican. Same nose, same lip, everything. The only difference between Chinese people and Mexicans is Mexicans have white people. They're mixed with white people, aka Spaniards, and they're mixed with mulatto black people. So when white people, because the Chinese was over here too, don't get it fucked up. When Chinese people was raping motherfuckers in the Caribbeans, and Sir Francis Drake was doing his circumnavigation, and they was taking them mulattoes and having babies with them mulattoes, they started creating what you call Hispanics. Okay? So a Hispanic person is like the race of people that was created after mulattoes. So we know that mulattoes were not only created during slavery, Spanish people were too. Spanish people are a slavery bred race of people. Okay? That shit needs to be understood. So now this is why Spanish people believe that they were the fucking Olmecs. This is why Mexicans are trying to argue you down about being the Olmecs, because they look like the Indians that was over there today. But they don't know that the Indians that was over there is the $5 Indian. The nigga on the right is a Native American. The nigga on the left is a Mexican. These are not the same people, but they look exactly the same. I'm trying to tell y'all, I got this shit down pat, man. The nigga on the right is what you call a $5 Indian. This is the nigga you gonna see when you go to an Indian reservation today. The nigga on the left is a Mexican. This the nigga you gonna see when you at any given mall in Los Angeles, okay? Why is this important? The nigga on the left think that he's original to the land. The nigga on the right think that he's original to the land, because they both have been finessed to take your place as the Indian, because you don't want to take your fucking place. Let's keep it moving. The nigga on the left is the nigga that you should see on the plantation. That's us. But the nigga on the right is who you see. This is the original Indian, and that's the $5 Indian. This is how they whitewash you from your history. Okay? Okay. And so now why is this important? Okay? The nigga on the right is receiving all your benefits. The nigga on the right, okay, is getting that $100,000 check. The nigga on the right is making that casino money, making that money and making all of that money that they make off the reservation, when really that shit should be coming to us. So when niggas get to talking about reparations for slavery, can we please include the money that they owe us for giving to these fake ass Indians? Because they owe us that too. See, y'all niggas got the game fucked up. Y'all niggas got the game fucked up. But don't worry, I'm gonna make sure we get it right. I'm gonna make sure we get it right. Now, this is proof that black people travel from North America to Africa and from Africa to North America. And I'm gonna do an entire lecture on this. I'm just giving y'all one snippet because I don't want to deter y'all minds from the Gullah Wars and have y'all, you know, too far back in history, thousands of years ago. This is the ancient Mayan presence in Egypt, okay? There is a temple in Egypt called the Maya Temple. It was sent to the Maya gatekeepers who are still living today, named Alun Jux Yakin, Han Bates Men, and Don Alejandro. Don Alejandro says that according to the Mayan tradition, their ancestors came from the Pleiades star system to the four corners of the earth, okay? Same with black people, Egypt, Dogon, everybody got the same creation story. But continuing on, one of those corners being North Africa, Egypt. They were known as the Naga Maya, okay? Naga meaning God, tribe, divinity. Maya meaning water in Mayans, okay? So Naga comes from the African word Nag, which means tribe and God and divinity and royalty. And Maya comes from a still spoken language today, okay, which means water. So Naga Maya translates into the tribe that came from across the water. Now on the left, okay, you see Mayan glyphs and architecture. Now on the right is a picture of a temple in Egypt, specifically in Saqqara. And these glyphs are in the Mayan temple, aka the Chapel of Maya. And when these glyphs were sent to these still today living heads of the Mayan culture, they confirmed that these were Mayan glyphs. So the Mayans, aka the Black Indians, Native Americans, Aboriginals, whatever the fuck you want to call them, were traveling to Egypt, and the blacks in Egypt were traveling to North America to Mayan civilization. So here's the thing, as I close this out. Why do y'all niggas keep trying to sustain the Aboriginal versus African argument when it has never been a versus until today?
This here is a Guinea man, an African. They catch him running through the woods in Guinea. My Reynolds bought him right off the ship. You keep away from him now, because he's a wild African. Oh yeah, he a bobcat for sure. Now some of you ain't never seen no African niggas before, so you just listen to old fiddlers now. This here Guinea man don't know English talking, so I'll be the one teaching him what it is he got to know. Come on, buddy. Come on.
Now, family, let's take a look at things and let's connect these dots. For generations after generations, we were sold this movie Roots as if it was the truth, as if it was the start of our identity on the land of America. Well, if that's the case, we have some questions that need to be answered. Remember, I told you there was a group of people called Indians on this land who were reclassified. They were reclassified to colored, to Negroes, to black, to African Americans. There was a group of Indians on this land. So if we all came from Africa, check this clip out. This is Fiddler telling a group of young black children about an African. But wouldn't they already know what an African is if they themselves are African?
This here is a Guinea man, an African. They catch him running through the woods in Guinea. My Reynolds bought him right off the ship. You keep away from him now, because he's a wild African. Oh yeah, he a bobcat for sure. Now some of you ain't never seen no African niggas before, so you just listen to old fiddlers now. This here Guinea man don't know English talking, so I'll be the one teaching him what it is he got to know. Come on, buddy. Come.
But wouldn't they already know what an African is if they themselves are African? Let's make this make sense. Let's make this make sense.
It's right to you right now.
America is my mama. Mm-hmm. I mean, can you speak to, because so many really like genius level black artists left America, at least for a time, because of the oppression. But what do you mean by America is my mama?
I don't know nothing else. I wasn't eating chitlins when I was in Africa. I wasn't eating watermelon when I was in Africa. Huh? I wasn't wearing zoot suits when I was in Africa. I wasn't getting my hair cut when I was in Africa. This bitch is my mama. And yours too. Except I know it's mine. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right, peace, y'all. Peace. How y'all doing, man? I'm here with a powerful brother. What's your name again, sir?
Lionel Van Dyne.
Lionel Van Dyne. I see you got on a veteran hat, man. You got on the veteran hat. What's that? What branch you been in?
The Army.
Okay, the Army. But I didn't come...
Korea at the age of 17.
And you are how old today?
85.
You are 85. Something that was very interesting that you said to me when the last time I was here to see my grandmother, and we talked a little bit about the Native American Indians. And when you told me you was a Native American, it really, hold up, say that again?
Cherokee Indian.
Cherokee Indian. When did you learn you was a Cherokee Indian?
My mother. With my mother at 3 years old.
Oh, so when you was 3 years old, your mother let you know?
Yes.
Have you ever been to some of the powwows that's out there?
Yes, I have.
What can you tell us about it?
Powwows, reunion of all the tribes, all the Cherokee Nation. We stick together like glue. We feed the nation of our people, and we take care of our people, and we never give up. I'll die an Indian, and that's it. I don't care what my complexion is. It doesn't matter. My kids are Indian, and I'm Indian.
So are you telling me, sir, that you are not African? You don't have no African blood or nothing?
I have no I don't know what my daddy was. He raped my mother, I guess. He stole a piece from her because she was pretty. Oh, incidentally, my mother was very fair, almost white, blue veins, red hair. But she still was a Cherokee Indian. She had no white in her at all. She's part of the nation. She's dead. She lived to be 89. Grandmother lived to be 90. Grandfather lived to be 110. I'm 85 and I'm going to try and beat my grandfather and go 112 if I can.
Beautiful. You're going to definitely make it. What can you tell me about the relationship between the Cherokee Indians and the African people?
Hi. Thank you, darling. Between the African, we have no qualms. I'll tell you this, and I'd like you young people to understand it. The Africans will always be the Africans. They've got their own country. They was born in Africa. Africa is their country. You're a Negro, what the white man gave you that name, and that's what you are. The Africans have nothing to do with the Negroes in the United States. They walk away in a minute and say, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm whatever, and I'm African, and I'm black, and I've got my own country. So that's it. I do not deny my relationship. I'll be an Indian until I die. So
Crispus Attucks, the first American patriot to fall at the Boston Massacre. Frederick Douglass, former slave and great spokesman for emancipation. The famous poet Langston Hughes.
It is a great story, that of the Negro in America.
The renowned singer Tina Turner.
If it was that easy, we would have all been there years ago.
Civil rights leader Jesse Jackson.
Our time has come. Thank you very much.
Despite such a distinguished ancestry, black Indians are a people whose collective past is barely known. Their identity is often clouded by uncertainty.
I guess the way it works is people are so used to seeing what is depicted as an Indian within the movies, the old movies and things, so if you don't look that way, they don't expect you to be Indian. They think you're either black or Hispanic or something else.
You have said that you resent the idea of being called an African American, that
Yes.
you are a black American.
Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family has been here, you know? Built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, you know, fought in every war, okay? So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
Now, American Americans, we've told y'all that in the past we had many elders. We had many elders who have been telling us that they were Indians. They didn't tell you they were Africans. They were telling you that they were Indians of this land. You even had people like Stevie Wonder and Smokey Robinson, okay? Smokey Robinson, in 1968, he was 28 years old. So I would think a 28-year-old knows what's going on in the movement that's happening. He was around in the civil rights era. And he's around right now telling you that he's not African, he's American. So in 1968, we had a brother in Martin Luther King who was fighting for Indian civil rights. And then you have a brother like Stevie Wonder who fought for a holiday for a person like Dr. King. When he created the song Happy Birthday, that was for Dr. Martin Luther King, a song that many of us sing at birthday parties all over the world today. That was for Dr. King, someone who was fighting for Indian civil rights. And the brother Stevie Wonder helped make his day a holiday. Now, tribe, as I bring this episode to a close, I like to say this. You can't take away someone's wake-up moment. So no matter what you may have felt about the civil rights movement, whether it was for us or against us, no matter what you may have felt about Dr. Martin Luther King, whether you felt he was for us or against us, everyone is entitled to a wake-up moment. And I believe Dr. King had a wake-up moment when he made the statement about he feared he had integrated his people into a burning house. Also, if we pay attention to the Homestead Act speech, Dr. King was very upset about what was going on the land of the American Indians, with all of the foreigners coming in, being able to take the benefits of the reclassified American Indian. And he spoke up for that. They cared nothing about Dr. King talking about integrating. They cared nothing about that. It wasn't until Dr. King spoke up and said, this is our land and we're coming to get our check.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Now, tribe, as we come to the end of season 1, we only got a couple more episodes to go. I want you to understand when I said this wasn't about the civil rights movement so much, but this docuseries focuses on the people of that civil rights movement. You got to know those people had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? There's still some of those people from back then who are still alive telling their story today, as I showed you with the 1963 Children's Crusade in Birmingham, Alabama. There's still people around who are able to tell the story of those 4 little girls getting bombed at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. There's still people around who can tell you about the Selma March. There's still people here who can tell you about the Montgomery boycott. They can tell you who they are. So this was about those people. Those people had children, grandchildren. There's great-grandchildren out here now. So who are those people? Where did they go? And what happened to them after King's assassination? That's what this docuseries is all about. Also, I wanted to help you guys distinguish the difference between the Native American Indians from the reclassified American Indian Negro. Okay? I wanted to help you guys distinguish the difference between the two. Because so many people think you're Indian and they automatically think TPs and them Asian looking, Spanish looking people. That's not us. Those people are not us, and they're not in our story. Their story takes place in the Northwest, on the West Coast, Southwest, over that way. Their story isn't over here in this Southeast, East Coast, Northeast, Midwest. Okay? Two different stories, two different groups of people. So that's what this docuseries was about. And like I said, I can explain it to you. I can't make you understand. You have to do that on your own. So until next time, I want to say peace to the tribe. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We'll see you next episode of Our Story 1968. Indian